Hello and welcome to my channel, home of Crystal ETV and everything else to help you on your journey to freedom. I'm Crystal Edmonds, and today we will be discussing that gut feeling, some of the science behind it, some fun stories about it, and how you can connect with yours. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. It helps me get into recommended, which is gold, Jerry Gold. Hopefully you understand that Seinfeld reference. If not, keep it moving. All right, so let's talk about gut feelings. First, I want to tell you this really cool story that I read years ago about some guy. It is a true story. He went to a country that he didn't speak the native tongue. He knew enough to get around. He's on this country road, this dirt road, and sees some birds in a field. And the field had just a very simple fence that he could jump over. And he thought, I want to get close to that bird to go see what it is. And on the fence, there was this huge sign, but it was in the native tongue that he didn't speak. So he didn't know what the heck it said. He looked around, figured there's nobody around. You know, even if if it says no trespassing, it's okay. It's huge field. I see nobody's around. I'm going to go get closer to this bird for a second. And as he went to climb over the fence, he had this really weird gut feeling that was like, I shouldn't be doing this. Don't do this. Like something in him was telling him not to do this. And as he went to climb over the fence, he was like, oh, it's fine. And he just tried to ignore that feeling and tried to continue over the fence. And as he thankfully, as he slowly climbed over this fence, there was a farmer on a tractor way down the road that I guess he had missed. And the guy just comes, hey, running towards him, yelling at him. So he gets down from the fence like, oh man, I've been caught. Turns out it was a bunch of landmines in that field that hadn't been like excavated yet. And his gut feeling was right. Something in him knew, I shouldn't be doing this. This is harmful for me. Let's not go there. And so for him, that was his aha moment. And like, hey, my body has some kind of natural tendency to sometimes know what I should and shouldn't be doing. And I need to get more in tune with that and listen to it. Because if that farmer wasn't there, he'd be dead. He would more than likely had stepped on a landmine, it would blow up, and he would have been dead. And that would have been a very tragic story. So that was kind of his aha moment. And I'm sure that you have had some of those same moments that you think, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Something in me told me not to do that and I didn't listen to it. Or you do listen to that gut feeling and then you still question yourself. Well, what if I would have done this thing? Maybe I shouldn't have listened to that. Maybe, right? And we question ourselves a lot. Well, I want to tell you that gut instinct that you have is chemically produced. It is something that can be studied. It is something that has been studied, and it's very real. And from a spiritual standpoint, I want you to think about this, that your higher power, if you believe that you were created or you're here or you're part of a bigger picture, that intuition that you have, that gut feeling is not just simply you and your conscious mind, right? It is your chemical balances reacting to the unseen. Mentioning the unseen here. In between me and you and the camera that I'm using, there is so much stuff right here that I just hit and moved around, right? But you don't see it. We don't see the molecules that are right in front of our face. We wouldn't be able to see anything. I'd be walking to my car, and if I could see all of the air pollution and all of the water droplets and all of, the breath, the things that I'm breathing out, you wouldn't be able to see your car to get to it. It would be too full in front of your face, right? It would be very blurry everywhere. And so some of these invisibleness things that we see, the rays of light, the sound waves, our body can react to these things. Our body feels these things. And that is what some of your intuition comes from. So if you do believe that you were created by something or you're part of a bigger picture, maybe your gut instinct, and it's not baby, but I'm giving it to you as a maybe your gut instinct is the way of those things are communicating with you to help give you guidance. So why would we try to cut that off and not ignore it? Ignore it instead of trying to get tuned into it and listen to it on a deeper level. So the next thing I want to give to you is Dean Radin. Yes, if you are interested in further studies, I'm only giving you a tidbit of some of the science and I'm giving it to you really broken down. Dean Radin, cool studies with isolated people using something called an electrogastrogram, which is an EGG. And he takes sets of people and he isolates them. And then he connects one to the EGG And he connects the other one. There's a lot of things that they're monitoring within both of these people. And he'll show the one person pictures, person B, pictures of person A. And sometimes there's a positive or negative response from this person thinking about this person. And it's really cool that this person reacts positively or negatively when this person is thinking positively or negatively about them. And he's done lots and lots of studies that are slightly different in each kind of way, whether it's just pictures, whether it's, you know, them thinking about each other, whether it's them sending like love and light to each other, thinking positive thoughts and happiness and what it does to that person. And he measures lots of different physical chemical changes within the person over here's body, and it does a lot of things to them, and with very high statistical significance. If you guys are into scientific studies and you know what those numbers mean, there is very, very high statistical significance in almost all of his studies, at least the ones that I've read. And so it's really fun to go and look at if you're interested in reading them. He also has books that you can listen to, but I do want to give a quick note here. Dean Radin is in some really cool newer science, and it will be called pseudoscience by some people. However, pseudoscience is just a really crappy name for people who pretend that science is a religion and it can't change. It is what it is right now. We've learned all that we can and want to know, and there is no more growth. Period. End of story. You're an idiot if you believe anything different. That's kind of what the term pseudoscience really means when someone says it. And my favorite example is Lynn Margulis. She had this theory of endosymbiosis that she believed and I'm gonna get a little weird and sciencey here, but stick with me, okay? I promise. She had this cool theory that was like, wait a minute, the mitochondria in animals kind of look like chloroplasts in plants, and I think that mitochondria actually were bacteria that cells kind of ate, and then through time they formed this mutually beneficial relationship, and that is now the cell as we know it. And people were like, you're an idiot, you're stupid, that's not how that works, no way. She was ridiculed. She wrote papers and books and stuff on this, and they called her dumb, and they hated her. She was shunned. There was a lot of criticism for her. And then guess what? DNA testing came along, and they were like, oh, you were right. And she has tons of awards, and thankfully it came along before she passed away. And so she's got tons of awards now, and that is when you go to school and you study the eukaryotic cell, you are studying her theory that she had. So when people use the term pseudoscience, or you're like, is this real? If it follows the scientific process and you can test somebody's hypothesis that is repeatable and there is statistical significance time after time again, then we need to not just throw it out, right? And that is what our gut feelings are. It is an amazing, and it's really not new, but it's an amazing new science that can be tested with our scientific instruments, and they have statistical significance, which means it's real. So how do you get in tune with it? Well, meditate is one, but another is anytime you feel that you're off, that you start to get some kind of anxiety, something in your life isn't right. There's somebody near you need to get honest with, you need to cut somebody off, you need to maybe change a job, you need to drop a relationship, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, you need to tell mom or dad, hey, sorry, this isn't for discussion anymore. Maybe you need to clean some clutter out of your life, start making your bed on a regular basis. I know that sounds weird, but clutter is a real thing. Get rid of some clutter and the anxiety on the inside might go down a little. So when you feel a little bit off, that's how you get back into alignment, and then that gut feeling comes along and you're like, oh, this isn't just anxiety anymore, because a little bit of anxiety will hide that gut feeling because your chemicals are kind of imbalanced already, if that makes sense. Another way that I love to get in tune with my gut feeling is to meditate, because when I shut up, that's how I hear my higher power, and that's how I can make sure that I'm getting guidance on a regular daily basis. And the more in tuned I am, the more I can get guidance on all these little things like, do I eat this for lunch or do I want to eat that for lunch? What do I want to cook for dinner? When I'm meal planning, you know, little things that seem insignificant but can make a big change over time. Whether you start exercising, how you start exercising, where you go to exercise, right? And all these little things can eventually change our life over time, right? So I hope that you've enjoyed this video. It's given you a little bit of insight on your gut feelings. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. Share it with anybody. Give me any comments if there's any questions that you may have down below. Remember, if no one's told you that they love you today, I do. Thank you for listening and keep coming back.